Hello, one of my neighbours was cutting down a cherry tree, and I think they had a certain sort of attachment to this cherry tree, and they just wondered if I could do something with a bit of it. So I have got a chunk of tree. Now this bit is not ideal actually for a whole host of reasons, because it's got a huge dent right in there, which I think would give all sorts of grain problems. It's been left cut on this end for a long time, so there are these huge cracks coming down it. I think what I'll do, I will try hacking it around a bit and see if the inspiration takes me somewhere. It's funny, isn't it, with some jobs you look at them and you think, yeah, that shape of wood, I'll make that. I do find with the green woodworking sometimes you just have to accept, well, I don't know if I'll get anything out of this, I'll give it a cut and a bash and we'll see where it goes. Obviously it's easier to split bits off at this stage than it is to bandsaw. Well, I say that's the theory. This grain is going literally everywhere. As you start to sort of open it all up, you do begin to see what you're dealing with, which is good stuff. So when you see where the grain is, where the soft spots are. Yeah, on the outside, I mean, there's bits of rot and decay, but that isn't a problem in itself. I can cut below that, hopefully. So, at the moment, I'm just using my Kentish pattern chip chop axe. I do like these old chip chop axes. You can get them quite cheaply, but they're very good axes. Quite nice and light, not too heavy to work with. Once a lot of the sort of big bulk removal's done, if I need to get in a bit more carefully, I'm using my smaller little axe here, which gets in some of the places a bit more sort of easily, generally. So, this is one you can use obviously far more controlled cuts, it's quite a lot smaller. And then for areas like I want to face this off, try and get it a bit flatter, I'm using a side axe. So this is an axe, bit of a funny shape as you can probably see there. This is for right-handed people, you can get them for left-handed. Normally get blacksmith made up ones are better generally. But it's got the bevel on one side only. So it's completely flat side, no bevel, and there's a bevel flat side. And the idea is you can go along like a flat surface like this, and it's a bit like a planing action. You can get a nice cut off and get it smooth and flat without the axe digging in, because it hasn't got that bevel on the other side. It's not going to dig in the same way. It's really just a matter of going around it and sort of looking and seeing how it reacts to your axe, because as you sort of hit it, if it's soft, you know, it's not going to be so good. If it's brittle, you know, it's semi-rotten. So it's sort of, you'll get to a point where you hit it and you think, oh yeah, actually that did what normal wood does. So I've got this grey colour here, so I know that's not quite so good. And all the time I'm trying to get a slightly more uniform shape around it all, so I'm trying to get rid of this great gully and what have you. So obviously bits of rot in there. I think I'll need to clear up properly afterwards. I don't want any bugs coming on my woodwork. Yeah, quick diversion. Just wanted to show you a couple of my axe covers actually. That's the first axe cover that I ever made, but do you see how the leather's gone? It's lovely, it's mellowed with time as the sunlight gets on it, and it's got this lovely, rich, lustrous sort of colour to it. I really like that. And this is one I made more recently, and I think, yeah, I popped a film up on this one, and it's lighter, it's going darker, but you see the colour difference, and that's just what the sunlight does on the leather, but it's quite nice. Wow, it's quite hard. It's hardly what I call green wood anyway. I'll carry on, it's getting there. I've just been giving it a bit of sort of general cleaning over the sort of surfaces with the side axe, and it's beginning to look a bit more bowly. So that huge hunk of wood is now quite small, but what I've got here is, generally speaking, fairly good wood. I think what I will do probably next, I'll do a bit of hollowing here, because then it can be drying a tad. I've got to be careful with the drying because I don't want it splitting, obviously, and if I remove a bit of the mass in here, it may release a few tensions, it may give me a few problems, but at least I'll know where I am, and I'll pop it in a polythene bag after I've done this sort of like roughing out. But it's getting there. I can do the more delicate knife work as a separate session, but I'll draw a sort of bowl shape and see where that takes me. If I did a lot of this, I'd want to have a little like frame or something to hold this up. You can make little wooden jigs, and it would be a good idea. I think as I haven't, I'll just try and balance and manage. Don't think this is going to be very easy. What I'm doing with the adze is obviously, again, quite a dangerous tool, and I'm keeping my arm, I'm not letting my whole arm swing too much because I'm then more at risk of it slipping. So I'm just leaving it at the moment short, like woodpecker sort of hits in. It's nice and sharp, and I think like this I can keep it fairly accurately where I want it to go. I'm not doing such, you know, big swings. Well, I've now got onto the chisel stage with the hollowing out, so the adze removes the bulk of the material, and then I've got various gouges here which I'm using to get the inside nice and smooth. Well, it's the exciting stage now because I've been doing the sanding on this, and it's now applying a little bit of food safe oil, and it is looking, well, look at that, it's looking good. I'm not going to put much oil on at the moment because I've still got more work to do on the inside, but it's quite nice to seal it a little bit and stop it drying out too quickly with a little bit of oil, and also it spurs one on to see all this lovely grain coming out. It's a hard bit of wood, this. It's harder than I'd expect actually for cherry, but it's coming. I did a lot of cleaning up on this yesterday. I went for Bodger's. We had a bead carving day, and I'll say more about that in another film. But I've got the inside now. I've got a nice tooled finish. I'm keeping it rough inside, because I like the tooled finish, but smooth on the outside. And I've just been doing a bit of flattening on the base. So on the inside, I mean, using these like spoon carver's hook tools, which are quite effective just for cleaning out the wood. So to write a little inscription on the base, I'm going to use my pyrography pen. Now, I've used this in leatherworking films for drawing pictures on leather, but it's also very good for marking wood as well. So I'm doing it on quite a high heat setting. I'll see how it goes. It's not exactly copper plate, but it will do. It's like all these things, isn't it? If you don't just get on and do them, they don't look so nice. You just have to go for it. So that's, hopefully you can just about see that in the light. So that's her first name there, just gone on. I'll carry on and put the other details in and show you what it's looking like. So what I've burned on the base here, I've put her full name in, Margaret Mary say nearly 100 years, and then turning it round, I've got a little part of a poem, and this was actually read at her funeral, so I thought it was quite appropriate to put the lines down here. You can shed tears that she is gone, or you can smile because she has lived. And it just seemed very appropriate. She was a very inspirational person. She was a wonderful artist and did some lovely works, and really was a model of probably how you should live your life. But there you are. So the bowl is done. I'm going to just put some oil on that as a final oil over, and then it will be finished. So I hope it's not looking. I'm just going to nick some of my son's pure mineral oil because it's a food safe oil, and give this a nice little rub around. Of course, the oil brings out all the lovely rich grain in the wood, which is all rather nice. And as I say, I've intentionally left all these tool marks because I actually like tooled marks. I know a lot of people like to see things totally sanded. I have sanded the outside smooth, but I've kept the inside as a totally tooled finish. The burning still shows through quite well, which is good. Anyway, so there you have it, one bowl taken from a cherry tree. So quite an enjoyable project. I enjoy all the axing. I don't enjoy so much having to add and carve out the interior. That took a long time yesterday. There you are. But anyway, I hope that will be well received and be a fitting little sort of remembering piece for the lady that used to own the cherry tree. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and bye bye for now.